I have it from fairly reliable and approved sources that today is actually Sunday, the 3rd of April, 2022. I'm all about approved sources. It's just like farmers and gardeners. Only buy your garden seeds, your field seeds from approved sources, licensed distributors. Only get your chicken and eggs from licensed and approved distributors. And what the hell? Throw this in here too. Only learn your history and science from approved sources like government schools, mainstream media. And while we're on it, people, only get your religion from state 501(c) licensed churches. And I'm kind of hoping some of you that are hearing this, well, actually, I hope none of my subs are getting ready when they hear this to go to their 501(c)(3) church. I hope none of my subs go to those places. I live in a church, people, but the pews and the altar was removed. Altars are a place of sacrifice. How many times are you going to sacrifice the poor guy? All right, anyway, so a little heads up. I'm going to give you a 1, 2, 3 knockout punch today on this one, people. We're going to start out with the bad news broadcast, just the introduction. Ice Age Farmer's got some stuff up. Think you should check him out. And then we're going to do a little, don't get scared, people. We're going to do a little Bible question for you, see if you can answer. Then I'm going to tell you a little Bible story, and I'm going to bring it right up to, a year ago in December. Yeah, so hang with me, people, because I am just getting started. Like I said, on Sunday the 3rd of April, 2022, or so I've been told by reliable and approved sources. Okay, now one more thing on the Bible. Years ago, back in the day, back in the big city of Upham, I had a particular Catholic person tell me one time, if God meant us to read the Bible, why then would he have been created Catholic priests? Yeah. Hey, trust me, take my word for it. Don't look, nope, nothing to see here, citizen. The mentality I see too much of, people. Anyway, I'm going to risk around this one long because the intro might be a little bit long. I'm taking you back to yesterday's release of the Jew Engineering Watch Global Alert News for April 2nd. I'm going to start you right from the beginning, so one more time, you can hear it again for the first time. D.L. Lyndon Baines Johnson, President, 1962, telling you about weather warfare. All right, let's get this up and running. Let's get this show going. I got stuff to do today. I can't mess around with these stupid audios, excuse me.
It lays the predicate and the foundation for the development of a weather satellite that will permit man to determine the world's cloud layer and ultimately to control the weather, and he who controls the weather will control the world.
Nearly a half century ago, the movie Soylent Green was released. The movie depicted a hellish future for the human race in the year 2022. Imagine that. The global power brokers that pulled the strings from behind the curtain are completely out of control, more desperate and dangerous than ever before. And the drama between, for example, Will Smith and Chris Rock gets center stage. Or Trump's tax returns, Hunter Biden's laptop, and the current occupant of the White House that can barely walk while having even more trouble completing a coherent sentence. They're all criminals.
I don't mean to interrupt him here, but, I mean, come on, this guy's got some serious points, especially the imposter-in-chief. Is that a joke? Is that a slap in the face to the American public? Are the masters of the plantation really just flipping us off by saying, meet your president? Gotta be kidding me. Give me a break.
Political stripes. All are part of the cancer of corruption that is sacking the planet and tightening the noose. All glaring red flags, signifying the sea of insanity that we're all drowning in. Divide and distract dramas while the tidal wave of near-term human extinction looms over us all. The planet's life support systems are completely collapsing. Consider this timeless nugget from General Omar Bradley. We've grasped the mystery of the atom and rejected the Sermon on the Mount. Ours is a world of nuclear giants and ethical infants. We know more about war than we do about peace, more about killing than we do about living. From CV-19 to climate engineering, controller responses, to unfolding and accelerating biosphere collapse. Any who still believe that they're being told the truth by any official source about the two subjects just mentioned or countless other issues need to rethink their reality. And while all this is unfolding, if one took an hour to view today's corporate media and the consumer commercials in it, it would be hard not to conclude that we're absolutely doomed as a species. Welcome to the asylum. Question: how many power centers around the world, along with the military-industrial complex, are actually benefiting from the Russia-Ukraine scenario, while third world nation populations are just trying to survive another day? Soon enough, first world citizens will find themselves in the same dilemma. Wait and see. And through it all, what dark agendas are quietly and covertly being carried out? From last week, dual coronal mass ejections due to strike Earth this week, with significant impacts. Geomagnetic Storm Watch upgraded to G3, which is strong. Storm Aurora to head south. More on this shortly. But first, how many have stopped to ponder that what we are officially told is an assault from nature, i.e. a coronal mass ejection, a solar flare, might actually be a smokescreen for an electromagnetic pulse attack against populations, an EMP event carried out by global controllers that are now more desperate and dangerous, as I stated, than ever before. Why? Because biosphere collapse has beat them to the intersection. Global ecological implosion is unfolding far faster than they were prepared for it to happen. The controllers know they must achieve total control over populations before the masses are forced to awaken to what's unfolding by the day. If global power structures feel they're completely losing control, would they use the ongoing climate engineering atmospheric spraying operations to disperse pathogens on populations? What do you think? The answer is so blatantly obvious it doesn't deserve the time it would take to explore it. What lies in front of us will make what has already passed seem like a Club Med vacation. Taking the time to view the movie The Road will provide a preview of what's coming. You're listening to the commercial-free, non-political Global Alert News Hour, the bad news broadcast brought to you by Geoengineering Watch.
Damn it, the bad news broadcast. I can't use that for my new introduction. But I'm jealous. Now, just listening to Dane Winnington here for a few seconds, I'm starting to think, and I don't know the man personally, I bet he doesn't buy his garden seeds from licensed and approved sources. Nope, I'm thinking he's probably getting his neighbor's free-range chicken and eggs. I don't think this guy is a play-along. And don't mistake him for climate change people. No. He's about geoengineering. That ain't climate change. Well, it does change the climate, no doubt. But he's not one of the Bill Gates and the Greta Thunbergs. Just a little bit more, and we'll be moving on. He speaks better than I do. I think I got allergies.
.org. GEO, the word engineering watch.org. For those that are unfamiliar with our site, we're the largest and most visited website in the world on the subject of covert climate engineering operations. This is Dane Wigington, your host. In this hour, we'll address the most critical issues we collectively face, issues on which our collective futures most directly and immediately depend. Let's start with this. Microplastics found in human blood for first time. The discovery shows the particles can travel around the body and may lodge in organs.
He said microplastics. Plastic.
The study is the first, they say, indication that we have polymer particles in our blood. How does this new study connect to climate engineering? Stay with me.
Okay, people, I really think you should watch the remaining 54 minutes and 35 seconds. I'm not going to give you a spoiler alert on the two possible ways that polymers, plastics, get in your blood. Nanoplastics. How cool is that? I'll give you one clue, though. Look up from your smartphone, and the evidence might be right before your very eyes, concealed in plain view. Okay, like I told you, this could run the risk of getting a little long, but you know what, people? You can always switch off. Yeah, I just got to get this information out. I'm on track to give you the 1, 2, 3 knockout punch today. Let's go. This will be quicker. Let's go over here to Ice Age Farmer. Just playing his introduction from his latest. Bear with me. Here we go.
Justin Trudeau joining Joe Biden in announcing that there are food shortages directly ahead, yet neither offering any plan for how to remedy the situation, nor guidance as to how you and your family might weather the storm. No talk of victory gardens, or anything for that matter. In fact, it's becoming increasingly clear that these administrations want these crises and are doing everything they can to aggravate the situation. What that means is that there is now a rebirth going on, a return to regenerative agricultural practices, to permaculture, to community gardens, and people coming together when they see the leadership completely failing and in fact working against them. I mean that. The Biden administration was petitioned by farmers, and read if I can find the Biden administration was petitioned by farmers to please allow us to work the land that you have made us set aside under your conservation reserve program, millions of acres that they're not allowed to work because it's environmentally sensitive. They said, please let us do the extra work. We'll put in the hours. We really want to feed America. Let us plant some crops here to get over the shortage that we're going to have because of the Ukraine war. And the Biden administration is not interested in that. In fact, they are putting even more land into the CRP as much as legally possible. They don't want any of that land to be worked. They want this crisis.
I strongly think you should finish out the remaining 25 minutes and 5 seconds of Ice Age Farmer's latest. I just stopped it here now. Iowa to kill 1.5 million more hens and turkeys because of, you got it, the bird hoax. Unbelievable, people. And how do they determine the disease of the birds? Oh, the RT-PCR. Amazing. We're going to fall for it round 2. And we're going to fall hard. Okay. Now, let me get you to the best part. I think it's the best part. I have said how many times, people, on my channel, the Bible is a accurate historic record, accurate scientific record. But see, people have a problem with that because it has been so discredited. The fairy tales coming out of the 501c3 churches. You know, I don't know how people start out. I started out being raised as a Lutheran, forced to go to Sunday school. I hated it. And once you get of age, once you get away from your parents' control, they weren't big churchgoers either, you go, I'm so glad I'm done with this shit. I mean, I was almost a atheist in the Navy. Yeah, I was sick of organized religion and their bullshit fairy tale stories. So, not to beat a dead horse here, I'm going to ask you a Bible question, people. And both of these stem from the Garden of Eden. Yeah, the garden created in Genesis. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so people have questions, and they go to their priests and their people that wear their collar on backwards, and they say, hey, I got a question for you. If Adam and Eve are the only two people God created, where did, now keep this in mind, let's just use a little example here. Let's just say Adam and Eve are both white, or Adam and Eve are both black, or Adam and Eve are both Oriental. You get where I'm going? Yeah, that's where I'm going. So if Adam and Eve, preacher man, are the only two people on earth and all life came from them, how did we get the whites if they were both black? How did we get the Chinese if they were both white? And did we get the black if they're both white? You see where I'm going with this? So what's the state church's answer? Well, don't you know Noah had 3 sons and Ham contained all the ingredients to create the other races? Seriously. Now, when you get shit like that from a state church, you're not going to believe the Bible is a scientific book. You're not going to believe it as a historic record. And I'm going to tie this in together, like I mentioned, something that happened a year ago, people, in December. So bear with me. We're almost done. I'm going to tell you a little Bible story. Speaking of Adam and Eve, whatever color they were, they got booted out. Yeah, and they got booted out of the garden. They got sent east of Eden. And 49 years later, Adam and Eve did the nasty, and Cain was born. Remember Cain, don't you? Cain slew his brother Abel. And for murdering his brother, he was banished. He was sent packing. He got the boot. Now, where did he go? Well, he went further east of Eden. And that would take you right along the 10th parallel. And where do you suppose you might end up in? Now, something you want to keep in mind, Cain had a son named Enoch. Not the prophet Enoch, not the good one, He had the bad one. The guy who was into secret societies. The guy that used to drink beer with Dan the Man. The Masons. You got it. So where did he go? He went to Mexico. And have you ever heard of a town called, and I'm going to spell it for you, now Enoch, Tenochtitlan. Yeah, it's the ancient capital of the Aztec Empire. All the supernatural rituals, all that cut the guy's heart out of him in the sacrifices. That Tenochtitlan is Mexico City today. Now, why is this important? I see this is going to be my longest video, so I'm going to make it short. You're going to have to go to Google Images, people, because I want you to look at a picture, and it's a very simple search. Type in Google Images UN Beast, B-E-A-S-T. Oh, by the way, speaking of beasts, I can answer that question of where all the races came from, because the Bible clearly answers it, if you know how to find it, and it's not written in English. Anyway, so you go to Google Images, type in UN Beast, and you're going to get a picture of this statue that was donated from the government of Oaxaca, O-A-X-A-C-A, if I'm saying that correctly, Mexico. Yeah, the statue is called the Guardian of Peace and Security. I'm going to tell you something, people. I'm going to sound like that astronaut I mentioned a few weeks ago, Tom Pettit. I think his name was Don Pettit. Go back to the moon in a nanosecond. But the problem is we've lost the technology. It's a very expensive process to build it back. So what I'm going to say here is I used to put these pictures beginning of my audios. I'd go back to Windows Movie Maker. But the problem is, in a nanosecond I would, but the problem is I forgot how to do the technology. And it'd be a painful process for me to relearn it. Yeah. So I'm sounding like the astronaut. All right, now here's what I'm looking at. And people are saying, hey, this looks like end times beast from the book of Revelation, from the book of Daniel. And let me add also from the book of 2nd Esdras, which isn't in the King James Version of 1611, but 40 years before it was in, oh, come on, I can't think of that Bible. Anyway, it was in. King James authors took it out. But you know, the original 1611, I forgot to tell you yesterday, had 10 to 12 books called the Apocrypha. They were there in the 1611, but not in your new one. Okay, anyway, real quick. Get to that UN Beast, Google Images. And they're saying, oh, that's just a flying lion. No, people. Look closely. It has got the body of a jaguar. It's got the mouth of a lion. It's got the feet of bear claws and the wings of an eagle. Yeah, I'd say it's kind of an end times beast. But that's just me. Trust me, people, we're going to have to pursue this a little more. But the Bible is a very accurate, incredibly accurate, historic, and scientific record. So I don't mind people. I very seldom use, well, the Bible declares the earth is flat. Because people don't have any credibility. They have no credence in the Bible. They think it's a fairy tale, fantasy, Disneyland novel. Too bad. So sad. I mean, you're really missing out a lot. Holy smokes, 18 minutes in. I got stuff to do, people.